What's up, everybody? Welcome to my Sunday recovery session. Normally I'm recovering from a week of workouts, but today I'm recovering from surgery. It's become a bit of a blur. I can't remember if this is the second day or the third day after surgery. But anyway, so I am going to be mostly just dealing with making this golfer's elbow of mine gone. It's almost 100% gone, and I've actually started doing supinated grip pull-ups again in my program to start testing it, and it felt good. I'll do that for a month, and then I'm going to start doing some single arm pulling, but I'm just dealing with it's absolutely no more than a 1 out of 10 pain, but it's just still just niggling in the background there enough that's making me still want to work on it a little bit. And I want to resume my very specific training for one arm pull-up this year. But before I do that, I really have to get rid of this tiny little niggling bit of golfer's elbow left in my right arm. And so what I'm doing here is some trigger point release, and I'm only going to do it just a little bit of this today because it feels like it's almost 100% gone. But I'm still going to do something, and the main thing that I'm going to be doing today is muscle scraping. And I'm going to do that in a minute, and I'm just doing this trigger point release first because once I do muscle scraping, I'm going to have this athlete's gel all over my arm, and I don't want that going on my medicine ball. I've got no affiliation with these people, though. I don't even have an affiliate link. I've had people ask me where they can get this stuff from. I don't know. My wife got this given to her by a guy up the road from our house when he found out that I was a YouTuber, and I like it. It's good stuff. It's got, what's it got? Wintergreen, capsicum, arnica, and clove. But it's like it's like one of those deep heat type creams, and I like it. I use it now every week in my recovery session. So if you want to try and find where you can get it, go for it. I've got no idea where you can get it from. But if I didn't have this, oh, that's really tender there. If I didn't have this, I'd be using something called Physio Cream, F-I-S-I-O. I know you can get that everywhere in Australia. Oh, and I've just found a really tender spot. And so this is the idea. I'm pushing weight down on the tender spot, and then I'm flossing my muscles by flexing and extending my wrist. And so the idea is that it just gets all, your muscles are all laid over each other and they're encapsulated by fascia, and that's what keeps them separated and hopefully gliding. But fascia can become, the word isn't knotted. What's the word I'm looking for here? It can become, I'm completely at a loss with the word I'm meant to use here. My vocabulary is failing me. Too many pain meds at the moment. Adhesions, that's what I'm looking for, adhesions. So it's meant to slide like this as the muscles move, but it kind of goes like that. And so doing some trigger point release work like this and some muscle scraping can really help with that. So that's the main thing I'm doing here. And I also have I've had a slap tear in both my shoulders, the right side. Recently I aggravated it by tearing some of the rotator cuff muscles. My own diagnosis was that it was a supraspinatus tear, and I diagnosed that just by doing a few tests of different movements that challenge the 4 different muscles of the rotator cuff, and the supraspinatus test was the one that hurt the most. But not funnily enough, once I had worked that out and I started doing some specific supraspinatus strengthening exercises, the pain almost went, and my movement came back. My full range of motion, pain-free motion, came back almost immediately. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I've gone through, I did that injury. I did the slap tears 4 years ago, but the recent injury was in January when I was working on towards handstand push-ups, when I was doing some pike push-ups. And so I've been doing 2 months of 2 program cycles of doing unilateral work, so lots of dumbbell work, dumbbell pressing instead of handstand push-ups and things like that. And it's doing really well. My shoulder's feeling really good. So that used to hurt quite a bit now, and I've got absolutely no pain doing that. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It didn't hurt quite a bit. It was maybe a 2 or 3 out of 10 pain. But it was enough for me to change my program a bit to deal with it, which is what we all should do. The idea that you get injured and then you rest to recover is not the way to go about it. Rest is not best. Motion is lotion. So let's get on here. And now I'm going to be using this ached away muscle scraper, which is pretty cool. I got it given to me by the people at Ached Away. They wanted me to test it and review it, and I use it all the time. But if I'm really honest, it's very expensive, and I wouldn't buy one of these if I was to buy my own one, because these are like $250. And I've looked, and it's because they've got like a vibrating and heating function. And I don't think the heating function is a good idea at all. I never use it because I've been told, and I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physiotherapist, I haven't read papers or anything on this, but I have been told by somebody who's he does fascia massage, and that's his whole jam, that the idea of heating up fascia for example, by a hot shower is a really bad thing, because when fascia gets heated naturally by our core temperature raising, or like when we exercise and warm up, that's really good for it. But when it gets heated unnaturally by, for example, hot shower, apparently that's really bad for it. And most people have probably experienced this, where if you've got back pain or shoulder pain or whatever, and you get in a shower and you get temporary relief from it. Apparently a lot of that is to do with the fascia heating up and becoming more malleable, and you experience less pain, but then it hardens worse than it was before. Whereas when you heat it up via exercise from your from your system, from your body heating it up, then apparently that is much better for you. Don't take any of that as medical advice. Haven't read any journals on that. It's just what I've been told, but it makes sense to me. And so what I'm doing, anyway, the whole point of all of that is that if I was to get one of these, I've actually put a link in the description of all our videos now, where I've found a muscle, because a lot of people have been asking me about this and about muscle scraping. And there's some really cool muscle scraping tools that you can get on Amazon, depending on what country you're in, between, I don't know, $30 or $60 or something for a set of these 2 different tools. And I would definitely get those if I was going to spend my own money on a muscle scraper. And I've got a link in the description so that you don't have to search for them. I've also found the ones with the lowest price and the highest reviews. And of course, if you use our affiliate links, we get a very small commission, which is really important for us, for our channel. Really helps us to grow. So what I'm doing here, I'm really just getting onto the tendons, the forearm, the wrist flexor tendons that connect to the medial epicondyle, which is, golfer's elbow is called medial epicondylitis, so inflammation of the tendons that connect to the medial epicondyle. And I'm just really scraping down them, and they're feeling pretty good actually now. When you've got issues going on, you feel like like it's going along like over grooves or something. And when there aren't that bad issues there, it's pretty smooth, and it actually feels quite smooth now, so that's good. Except there. Okay, now I'll do a little bit on this side. I don't even have any symptoms on this side, but I always just like to sort of even my body out, you know. You know how it is. So I just get my ointment on there. And I really use that cream, that athlete's cream, basically just so that I've got something. If you don't have any cream when you try and do this muscle scraping, it doesn't work well at all. Like, it just sticks to your skin. It's like a masseuse trying to give you a massage without any massage oil or massage ointment. It's pretty uncomfortable, and you don't get much movement, you know, from the hands over the muscles. So let's see what that feels like. That's a real test for golfer's elbow for me, because when you try and push your fingers together like that, that's really using the muscles that are where the tendons are inflamed. So if you've got bad golfer's elbow, if you push your fingers together like that, you'll really feel it there. Okay, and now I'm just going to do a little bit for this bicep, because the bicep, the long head of the bicep it connects onto the labrum where the slap tear occurs. And so often people that have had slap tears, like me, you can experience, issues with your bicep. You can experience pain in the bicep, especially when you load up shoulder extension. So like dips are almost impossible for somebody that's just, actually I would say they are impossible for somebody that's just had a slap tear. And for me, it was the last part of pushing strength that I could get back, because the long head of the bicep is actually a part of a dip, so that gets lengthened, and the long head of the bicep helps you with that part of shoulder flexion from there to there. And so it was just so painful at the start. And this one I do feel the as I go up, whereas on this side it's smooth. So that tells me I need a bit of work. And when I go to the chiropractor or physical therapists over here in Australia and they do muscle scraping on me, that's what they always do. They'll go, oh, let's check this and then they go, oh, look at that bit. And then they'll work on it if they find a spot that has that like a bumpy road kind of a feel to it. All right. I wish I could. I really can't get onto the back of my shoulder very well with this muscle scraper. Unfortunately, it's just not an angle that I can do very well. But I'd love to be able to get back here a bit better. I tried. And I'm just going to finish off today with some thoracic extension on the foam roller. This is an exercise that I believe most people should do daily. If you spend any time sitting at a desk working or hunching over looking at your phone, this exercise can really help to reverse some of the tightness and some of the postural issues that arise from that. And there's different ways you can do it. So you can do it like this as well, because you can then try and pull your arms further into shoulder flexion. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to not, if you watch down here, I'm trying to not arch like that, because that's not getting movement where I want it. I'm trying to get the movement in my thoracic spine, so in the part of the spine that the rib cage is connected to. And so I'm doing my best to isolate that movement. And also with this one here, you can pull your elbows down, which helps to create some flexibility through the chest, which again is offsetting all the issues that we get from sitting at a desk all day long. Woo! And that's it. Some is better than none. And even just doing that little bit on a recovery day as opposed to doing nothing at all is helping me to move closer to my goals by dealing with the issues in my body. So if you've got golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, because that's what I was doing on the outside there, or slap tear, bicep pain, shoulder pain, these things can really help you.